I'm actually from a company called Countryscape. Probably the easiest way to describe us is kind of a wholesome sandwich between a creative agency and an environmental consultancy, so we're kind of communications plus science. I'm talking about a network we're running on behalf of a consortium called the Ecosystems Knowledge Network. It's a DEFRA-funded network. It's all about trying to embed what's called an ecosystems approach within and outside of the environmental sector. So there's already lots of jargon coming out of my mouth. I'll talk about this in a moment. An ecosystems approach is a holistic approach to looking after the environment. It's a byproduct of sustainable development. It's one of the key tools for delivering sustainable development. And DEFRA have set up this network. It's a requirement of the Natural Environment White Paper. And it's all about saying, okay, well, we kind of do this within the environmental sector. We're kind of used to this terminology and these ways of working, but how can we engage economists and planners and other government departments and community groups and kind of get people at these events who perhaps aren't here today, who are going to need to be here if we're going to deliver sustainable development. The project is very practically focused, so it's not a theoretical project. We're dealing with place-based projects on the ground. We're working with communities. We're talking to people who don't use the language we use here. Most of the people we engage with don't call it an ecosystems approach. They call it something else, which is fine. But we're learning from them, finding out how they work, how they form partnerships. And we're trying to pick up some of the language they use to help engage others. That's a good way to get through a PowerPoint presentation. So what have we learned really from this network? Well, firstly it's all about selling the benefits. It sounds cynical, but it's no good trying to get people to look after the environment for the environment's sake. People quite rightly ask, okay, what's in it for me, my community, my business, my organisation, my profession? And it's up to us to be clear about those benefits. It's no good asking these people to work out how it's going to benefit them themselves. We've got to come to them with those benefits clearly outlined so that they can see why it's relevant to them to start with. We've learned that it's all about forming partnerships. We need partnerships in this day and age, mainly for financing and resourcing and all kinds of reasons. But partnerships are also about communications. We're looking at partnerships that are trying to involve the health sector, that are trying to involve planning and developers. Not just because they can bring resources to projects, but also, and then my third and last point, is that they use language that they can then take these messages out among their own communities. It's unrealistic to think we can develop some sort of shared language in this sector that everyone is going to buy into and understand. Different professions, different cultures, we all use our different ways of describing things. We should embrace that and use multiple languages to try and get these messages out there. Let people talk about these things in their own terms, whether it's sustainable development, an ecosystems approach, sustainable land management, whatever you want to call it. So long as the concept is there, that's all that matters, and we should embrace the diversity of languages and different ways we describe things.